Excuse me as I kiss the sky.
Hey, it's your girl Soncerae here. I appreciate you watching. You can send me your video topic suggestions or your relationship questions to soncerae@gmail.com, okay? If you're a single mother, please put in the title hashtag the matriarch, okay? So I got another one here. It says, hey, I need some advice. My ex recently signed over all rights, even adoption of our 3 boys. I feel like moving would be good for a fresh start. We have lived in the same town all our lives, and his stepdaughter goes to the same school as my boys, so I really don't want the boys to go to that school and see him. I'm so scared of this. I feel like this is a good choice, but I am so terrified of choosing the wrong place to move. I'm scared moving out of state, even though I think it might be best. Have you ever moved? How do you make friends? How do you handle the choices of where? Wow, so listen, this person don't know me well, so I'm gonna tell the story. I moved 2,000 miles away. I ran for dear life, honey. He didn't sign over his rights, though. I begged him to, but he didn't want to. I knew something legally needed to happen. Either he was going to sign his rights away or he was going to be put on his child support. Something legally needed to happen. And I tried to have the conversation with him about it, but he was just mad all over the place. Anyway, my son's father lives in Georgia. I live in California. We live in 2 different places. I had to do, at the end of the day, what was best for my son. I knew I didn't want my son to live in a predominantly black area in Georgia. I knew that he would have better education inside of California, and I also knew that he would be around a multicultural group of people and he would learn more about the world. He wouldn't be stuck inside of like this box. And a lot of times when children grow up inside of a predominantly black area, they get stuck thinking that life is just this little tiny box or the 4 corners or whatever projects or neighborhood that they live in. I didn't want to stay in poverty. When I first decided to move, I didn't have any money. I moved here from Atlanta with just donations that people had given me online. I didn't have any money, and of course my first 10 months here were extremely hard. Working my butt off. Need to put the swing together. Tried to put them in the swing and it broke apart. It's because my mother called herself putting it together. I still got a lot of work to do. I live in a beautiful $500,000 home and I don't even have any furniture. Yeah, I just so yeah, things are looking up for me and I'm doing really well, you know. But I had to make a decision for my son. I knew that this would be a better move. I knew I wanted to start my life over, and I knew I couldn't fully do it in that area. It was just too much negative energy there. It was too much going on there. I didn't want him to be anywhere near his father. When his father decided to abandon me the way that he did, it was just like, you know what? I think what's best for my son is for him to not be anywhere near him. Him and my son have never met, and I'm very much okay with that. Now, another thing that I wanted to avoid is running into his father myself. I wanted to avoid that. I wanted to avoid me and my son being out somewhere and I just so happened to run into his father. You don't want your children's school to be that place where it no longer feels comfortable or like a sanctuary to them because the father that treats them the worst or didn't even want them just so happens to be walking around the school. It's weird that he has a stepdaughter that he wants to take care of, but he doesn't even want to take care of his own 3 kids. I don't get that. What is that? That's just unfortunate on so many levels, but you know, life happens. Some people can't even be loyal to their own blood, their own flesh and blood, but that's a whole nother video, okay? But yeah, I would say that you're doing the right thing, starting over fresh, starting over new. Now when it comes to looking for a place to move to, that's a whole nother thing because it just depends on what you do for a living. Is it family in their area? What is the education system like? What's the cost of living? You know, these are all things that you have to factor in because if you go to a place and it's just you It's going to be very, very difficult if you don't have a family member or a friend or someone there to guide you, steer you in the right direction, or to help you with your kids from time to time. If you don't have that, it's going to be difficult. When I first moved here, my mom was here. Then my mom moved to Washington, D.C., and then I was sitting there pregnant alone. But then when I had my son, my mother came back to California and, you know, has helped me out ever since. If she wasn't here to watch my son, then I wouldn't be able to go out into Uber and find out about the area that I live in. That's another reason why I decided to drive Uber. Now, I am a side hustler. I'm the type of person, I want a regular job and I want 4 and 5 side hustles. So I'm gonna need somebody that's gonna be there to watch my kids sometimes. And with Uber actually helped me get to know the area that I'm in. I got to see where I was, from the churches to the malls to the grocery stores to the different sides of town, the movie theaters, the museums, all of the parks and the lakes and the mountains. I just got to know where everything is. So it's easy for me to be a tour guide for someone else. If I want something constructive for my kids to do, I know where to send them. It just depends on that. And I decided to move to San Francisco, which is basically tech world, because I am in IT. If I wasn't in IT, then I probably would have rethought moving to this part of California. A lot of people come to California and they move to places like San Diego. I don't necessarily know what's in San Diego, but I do know that the cost of living is cheap down there, just like the cost of living is cheap in LA. But then there are other things in LA that you have to worry about. I mean, it's already crowded in California to begin with. LA is one of those places. It is extremely crowded. People always say it's like Houston or Miami or Atlanta, you know, and I've lived in Atlanta. I didn't want to go back to Atlanta. I didn't want a better version of Atlanta or a different version of Atlanta. I wanted nothing like that. I wanted my son away from that. So San Francisco seemed like a good idea, a good fit for me. Is the cost of living high? Yeah, but how much I get paid is high too. What's even better about this is I did come here with a plan, okay? I had a plan. I wanted it to go a specific way. It didn't go a specific way. It had the same kind of ending though. It didn't go 1, 2, 3, 4 in the order that I wanted it to go, but the whole thing was to move here, get an IT job, and get a house. Bing, got that. But how I got it didn't happen as planned, and that's fine, you know. Sometimes life does that and it throws you off a little bit, but you just got to keep moving forward. You got to do what's best for you and your kids. And if it's moving away from a place that makes you hurt, then move from it. That's my advice. I appreciate you watching. Have vision and stay focused. Hey, it's your girl Soncerae right here. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Smash that notification bell, all right? Follow me on all of my socials. If you have any video topic suggestions, you can email me at soncerae@gmail.com, okay? Have vision and stay focused. Namaste.